T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. My life has value.
Good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Global Watch the News. My name's Larry Swan. Hope you guys are all doing well. If you are in the live chat, we do ask to keep it family friendly. There will be moderators in there to make sure that we stay within the terms of service put forth to us by the platform we're utilizing today. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Take a minute, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you know when we go live. So guys, okay, so when I was young, my friends, we used to play outside, of course, because, it was back in the 70s. I used to have these friends. They're all boys because the neighborhood that I lived in, I was the only girl. So they're all boys, and their favorite activity, I would say, their favorite fun thing to do would be to take a stick and find a bee's nest and smack the bee's nest and run as fast as they could. And whoever didn't get stung by a bee won. Well, chances were everybody got stung, even me, who wasn't doing anything. I was the slowest runner. And, this seems to be what the United States is doing to the other superpowers. They're taking the stick, they're hitting the beehive, and they're expecting not to get stung. And when I say this is what I'm talking about. Take a listen.
I do want to get back to this breaking news right here. Take a look. Days after the U.S. government shot down a Chinese spy balloon over the Atlantic Ocean, the U.S. Air Force has now launched an unarmed Minuteman III intercontinental ballistic missile test from California in a show of nuclear readiness. The test launched at 11:01 p.m. Pacific time from Vandenberg Space Force Base that is over in California, and the base telling Fox News all about this a short time ago. They do call it, quote, routine activity intended to demonstrate that the U.S. nuclear deterrent is safe, secure, reliable, and effective. A test launch displays the heart of our deterrence mission on the world stage, assuring our nation and its allies that our weapons are capable and our airmen are ready and willing to defend peace across the globe at a moment's notice. So again, this all happening just days after the U.S. shot down that Chinese spy balloon. Doug Luzader with Fox News has more on that for us.
House members put their differences aside to make it clear that China crossed the line here after learning more about what U.S. intelligence agencies know about the balloon and its payload.
The FBI working to gather and examine parts of the Chinese balloon that were recovered just off the coast of South Carolina. And what they are learning has confirmed the fears of many on Capitol Hill who question defense officials about what we know and what we don't.
The truth is, we think we know what they were going to collect. We don't know. That scares the hell out of me.
The balloon is believed to have carried sensitive antennas for monitoring communications and transmitting that information back to China. Some of the balloon's components appear to have English markings, raising questions about where they were made. But the president suggested that some of the concerns may be excessive.
It's not a major breach. I mean, look, it's a violation of international law. It's our airspace. And once it comes in our space, we can do what we want with it.
The yeas are 419, the nays are 0.
The House, though, saw it as a serious threat, voting unanimously yesterday to condemn China as the scope of that country's surveillance program became more clear.
This is a clear and present danger threat.
And many said there should have been a faster response.
At the end of the day, I think it should have been shot down over the Pacific Ocean, not the Atlantic Ocean. You don't shoot down a spy craft after it's done spying.
Others defended the president's decision to wait until the balloon had crossed the country, saying the military used that time to learn more about how it worked.
Oh, I have so much to say about that. So China, if you guys are interested in a really good video, go to the video that I played yesterday here on Global Watchman News and watch that one about China. Their dirty little secret is the dirty secret is in the title. I mean, I get it. I understand that, the United States has to appear and show force. But I mean, to launch an ICBM, let's take a look. If you guys don't know the range of an ICBM. So this is the launch that took place from Vandenberg Air Force Base in California. Okay, now it only went 4,200 miles. It went towards the atolls, the Marshall Island, and that's where it went down. But those missiles have an 8,000 mile maximum range. So, I mean, if you look at the image on the screen, you can see where 8,000 miles can take this thing. This comes on the heels of North Korea having their show of power. They're having their parade. They're parading their military in the streets as they do. Russia is known to do it as well. Taking all their tanks and all their troops and marching through the streets to show the world, look at us, punching their, their chest, we've got a military. Well, we don't do that here. We don't, put our military out in the public like that. But apparently this is what we do. Okay. This here is what we do. So the U.S. launches an unarmed ICBM into the Pacific Ocean amid China and North Korean tensions. A missile comes just days after North Korea organized parade displaying their ICBM ICBM launchers, and China flew the spy balloon over the United States. The U.S. Air Force launched an unarmed Minuteman III intercontinental ballistic missile test from California to show of nuclear readiness. The test launched at 11:01 p.m. last night from Vandenberg Space Force Base in California, the base announced this morning. It was a, quote, routine activity intended to demonstrate that the United States nuclear deterrent is safe, secure, reliable, and effective, according to the announcement. A test launch displays the heart of our deterrence mission on the world stage, assuring our nation and its allies that our weapons are capable and our airmen are ready and willing to defend peace across the globe at a moment's notice, said General Thomas A. Bossier, Air Force Global Strike Command commander. Well, that's all good and everything, but it's going to have consequences. And I'm going to tell you what's going on with Russia. So Russia is now changing its public nuclear weapons doctrine as a result of, quote, aggressive actions by the United States, United Kingdom, NATO, and such. The new policy being developed now will acknowledge the United States as a co-belligerent in the Ukraine war. Yesterday, it emerged in British media, Ukraine is prepared to use British long-range missiles to strike the annexed peninsula of Crimea. Ukrainian President Zelensky is pushing for the West to supply jets and longer-range missiles, warning that the war could stagnate without them. British Prime Minister Sunak has responded to his plea by admitting nothing is off the table when it comes to the UK's supply of military aid to help fight the Russian invasion. Discussions are understood to have taken place involving the potential provision of Harpoon anti-ship missiles, which have a range of 150 miles and costs around 1.2 million pounds. Storm Shadow surface-to-air missile cruise missiles with a range of 250 miles, the cost of 2.2 million pounds, are also said to be on the table, the Times of London newspaper reports. So Russia, national television earlier this week, it was revealed that Russia is headed towards a policy of preventive tactical nuclear strikes, similar to what the U.S. has. Moreover, if Ukraine targets Crimea and heartland Russia, then Russia will respond according to plans now being laid down. These plans foresee counterstrikes against U.S. military installations in Europe and against the continental United States using hypersonic missiles. This is the reason why they are currently positioning their submarines on our east and west coasts and in the Gulf. And why Iran, because if you remember, Russia and Iran now have a working relationship with one another. And now Iran is trying to take a spot up in the Panama Canal, all posturing for this next phase. I was talking to some friends this morning, and I've said, it feels like that we are right back into the 1970s and 1980s during the Cold War, where tensions were so high you never knew from one day to the next what was going to happen. The problem with it was back then was the United States was a lot stronger than it was now. It had a lot stronger administration running the company. The U.S. is a corporation than we do now. And Russia didn't have a leader that was afraid, or didn't have a leader that wasn't afraid to show his force, to show his brute strength. This isn't going to play out like it did in the 80s. This is going to play out much like the Cuban Missile Crisis. And if you know anything about that, we came just minutes away from a nuclear exchange. gonna keep an eye on this for you guys. I'm gonna put the links in the description below for you guys to take a look at these articles, and keep an eye out. Again, get your houses in order. We're only telling you this for information so that you guys can know what's going on. Nothing's worse than being surprised or sideswiped by something that you didn't know was happening. So remember, be prepared, no fear, eyes open. Till next time.